Because you always have to evolve. It is. It's about like, it is about like me forcing myself to try to make TikTok work. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like
It's a TikTok dance.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just like you're just like, hey everybody. So anyway, like you know, it's ridiculous.
You goddamn grown to be in front of the camera. Like, what you doing?
And it's crazy because like on TikTok they'll dance and give you like straight up like tax information. You know, it's like, hey, anyway, about like you're just like, what?
Baby.
I think there's nothing in the world harder than being a stand-up comic.
Oh my gosh, I agree.
I mean,
I don't know, man. You know, no, because if you see social media, there's a lot of people that call themselves comics that are not.
really?
That's fair.
Well, there's a lot of people calling themselves many different things these days. Yes.
Isn't it funny
entrepreneur, I'm just everything.
Yo,
I do this, I do
entrepreneur
that.
works hard.
yeah,
That
you
is
know
a
what I
word
mean?
that works real hard.
I feel like
Fitness influencer, trainer, or whatnot.
I tell people all the time that like when I go to bed, I go to sleep the most positive. Like I'll be on Instagram, I see people working out, I see people eating healthy. I'm like, tomorrow you're gonna start your life over. And then the next day I'm like, what the was I thinking?
They're like Thursday. We'll try it
I know,
Thursday.
like,
Try it Thursday.
Man, these Swiss rolls from Little Debbie aren't gonna eat themselves, man. Like we got some work to do.
like working on the Shy and like having all that food out there in Chicago. It's like I want to eat, but I know I got a sex scene coming up. Like
That
it's
deep
like
dish over there.
yeah, it's like it's hard.
Especially
Helps with
Shy,
the discipline.
It's
Yeah,
crazy because like
You know
even
what I
the
mean?
pizza's like 20 pounds over there, man.
Yeah,
like that
it's-
deep dish is just like, why are we in the deep end of a pool, man?
Yeah,
That's
so
a,
good.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
a
not
great
really
one.
a deep. I'm not really deep dish kind.
Neither am I, because
I don't know.
it's a big project, man.
Yeah. I'm like, this is an undertaking right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
like,
need to. I need to plan this.
That's a
right
meal.
now.
I agree.
Yeah.
Meal prepping is definitely like it's annoying because it's not rocket science.
If you stick with that, you got discipline that I respect so much.
yeah, I know.
Like a meal prep plan, sticking to it. Like
I probably only did it one good time.
I could last a week or so, but
I don't want to think about nothing. I just want to like, okay, I know exactly what's happening.
sure, if it shows up for me, fine. But if I gotta be the one personally, like every Sunday at night,
Prepping your
plan
actual meal.
for the week, I'm not making it past the first week.
Speaking of
I'll do it
prepping,
one
like
time.
fitness, like what's the fitness like thing for a skater, like to be in shape as a skater? Is it mainly on the board? Are you doing anything in the gym exactly?
Oh
or-
yeah, for sure. Definitely. I've been working out with a trainer, which like was kind of taboo for skateboarding when I was coming up. But I've been working out with a trainer since 2010.
Why is that taboo?
The skaters were just like, man, you just a skater, man. You skate.
just
You don't
go
worry
skate.
about that other shit.
But that skill is like,
Right.
like it's
The skating is the
Right.
workout, man. Don't worry about it. Don't be a jock. Don't be this. Don't be like it. Skateboarding is a funny thing. Like I love it to death, but we can be very critical upon each other for sure.
That's insane, though. I don't get that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's still like in all profession, all just medium. It's gonna be the inside, like critical.
Yeah. Everybody knows that, like,
Like, don't sell
inside,
out.
like do's and
Like,
don'ts.
Well, there's a lot of things. Like, you know, like I shot a Netflix special and they told me 56 minutes. The special should be 56 minutes. And I'm like, it's an hour special. As a comic, if you're doing an hour special and you don't hit 60 minutes, then other comics are going to think that you didn't have the time. And immediately, and that's the criticism.
Like you didn't have enough.
Yeah,
When
you
you
know
say you don't have the time, meaning you didn't have the material to get to 60?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And it's like at that point you're just but see that's like inside baseball stuff. It's like
Right.
comics notice that. The people at home watching, they don't know. Right?
So you guys
But-
are like, nah.
yeah, you know,
They
it's
spend
like,
mad time on the
this,
crowd right now.
This fool with his hour special, 53 minutes, get out of here.
They didn't laugh that long. That wasn't that
I need
funny.
my 60.
You got 8 minutes left.
60.
That's
need my
crazy.
You know, but that's how it is. It's because once you do it, you're critical of other people
Yeah,
because
for sure.
you expect it. Like it doesn't make sense to me to be a skater and give someone else to be critical of having a trainer because to
Right.
me it's like it's a sport,
you
it's
would think,
athletic,
right?
yeah, you know, but
After you hit past 25, if you want to have longevity, I mean, you got to train like an athlete. You are an athlete.
Well, you are an athlete.
But
for
most
sure.
skaters, like, it's a debate in skateboarding, like whether it's a sport or an art. But I look at it as a hybrid. It takes athletic qualities, but it's also artistic in the sense of it's creative. There's no rules. There's no, you can't do this, you can't do that. If you can envision it and you want to try long enough to bring it to fruition, then you can do it.
That's my favorite thing about skating.
Yeah, it's great
skate?
like that.
Man, growing up, I tried, and I was not gonna keep trying. I was like, I'm gonna stick to something else. I'm gonna chill.
I got a skateboard 10 years ago, and it was a stormtrooper skateboard. And I tried because I thought it was so cool. It looked so cool. And first day I was like, nah.
This ain't it. This ain't it.
I hit my ankle on some skate. Like
crazy.
I was like, what they call that, a shark bite? Is that
Yeah. They call that, yeah.
yeah, I hit
He's
like my
he's
ankle.
like, I haven't done that in 25 years. I think that's what
Like,
they
it
happens
was
to me
call
every day.
excruciating pain. I'm like, let me stick to dancing.
What's a
and
shark
thing.
bite?
It's when you explain it. You definitely
I know,
do.
I'm like,
When the
let me
board,
ask the other
when
guy.
the board just directly like right here on your ankle, when it just direct to your ankle, it feels like a shark bite, like something like it like sends an electrical shock up your whole body. Like,
Dude, I get a shark bite from anything. I try on a couch at IKEA, shark bite. I get a peanut butter parfait at Dairy Queen, shark bite. Like, dude, all day.
Miguel, I want
it.
to ask you something. I think like in their
Just got up from the chair.
shark bite.
Shark bite.
In their spaces,
Yeah.
they get immediate feedback.
Yeah.
She's on stage. She knows I'm crushing it. I'm bombing. He's on the board in front of people. Applause, boos. You're in the studio. Yours is a very personal. You don't get instant feedback. How does that process feel? And B, how do you know what makes you feel like you got it? You got that hit without that instant gratification.
You know, that's my favorite thing about watching comedians, because there's such a consistent, it's a part of the culture from my understanding, that comedians are like, they're going and testing their material like on the regular, and they're doing it like live, getting the feedback. Same thing, you know, anything that's like, it's like happening live. That's why I love watching sports. It's like, man, these are people who train to be excellent very regularly, and they put it to the test in front of everybody. And that's where, like, watching great clips and you see somebody just do something, one-handed catch, you know what I mean, with 4 defenders on them somehow, blah, 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 and they make I would say putting myself in situations in the studio growing up kind of helped with that. And that's where I started writing songs, not writing them down.
Oh, wow.
It was like having people that I respected in the room, and, you know, some like people I want to impress. It might be a girl here that, you know how it is. Dude.
Absolutely.
We want to keep people in the room that not only are like reaffirming and reassuring, but also kind of like just their challenge, a challenge, you know? And then it just kind of gives you the opportunity to step outside of your comfort zone. And I think my most honest moments where either I was doing that in practice from knowing what that feels like and challenging myself to do that in real time, or doing it with people in the room. Because then you have no time to think and it's just instinct, which is why I love what you were saying, Paul. It was like, you know, it is an art and a skill. You know, it's like to train oneself so vigilantly that in the moment of creativity and like you're inspired to do something and you're just going for it, it happens naturally. Yeah. And it is just, it's like you're envisioning it and your body is responding to your vision.
Can I
That's
ask
like
you,
the
like,
greatest
when
thing.
it comes to music, because I love music, and it's interesting because I remember growing up and going to the mall, and you would buy an album, hoping at least 2 songs were great.
Can we bring back the mall?
Like, dude, like, right? Like listening, like you would
Putting the
sample
headphones
and
on.
stuff and everything. And it's weird because, like, I was actually talking to a friend of mine a couple weeks ago about the music industry and where it is now, you know, because now he was saying celebrities, like, you don't have the big names like you used to in music. And I'm like, you do, it's just different. The access is different because now I feel like a lot of artists, when I see them, they drop singles instead of albums. And for someone like me, like somebody that came from like the full album days, I don't even know where do I find music nowadays? You know, it's like
I've been noticing the
people
albums are
digest
getting
it is
bigger too.
different,
What do you think about that, Miguel? Like albums being bigger than 10 songs or 20. You got 20 song albums out now. Like albums been.
They don't have the attention span anymore for that.
I don't
Yeah.
either.
That's what I'm saying. We're trained to consume things in like small bites nowadays.
Yeah.
it's weird because to me it's like it's always like you were talking about how like with comics, yeah, you know, it's like when you shoot a special, now you got to write a whole new hour, right? So like I'll be at home, and my whole thing is I'm the person that always travels with a notebook. Because to me, writing in a notebook makes you remember things better. But in stand-up, when I'm writing the new hour, I'm like, oh my God, I have a great idea about toothpaste. I got to go to the club and like throw out this toothpaste joke. And it seems ridiculous, right? But that's the job, right? And it's weird how when you go to a studio, like you were saying, there's something kind of foreign to me that you just lay down the track and you're like, well, there it is, right?
Hope people like it. You know.
Yeah, that's what's scary about both of your guys' mediums is like, you might think like I got a hit song, or you might think this is a funny concept, but like you don't know until you show it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the craziest thing? That's the thing about social media too.
That for sure.
Social media, you can have something that you think is going to be great, and it doesn't get the likes that you think is going to be great.
Yeah.
And then you post
It's
a
always the
video
thing
of the
you were
most
like,
mundane
"What?
thing,
That?"
and it's like, yeah, you're just like, wait, like I didn't even try. They're like, yo, I love the video when you were wearing, and you're like, what? Like,
That one?
yes,
That was.
And you're like-
I didn't write that. I was just riffing. I was just having a moment.
and they're like, man, I love more of that. And you're like, more of not trying?
Yeah, it could be disheartening.
Yeah. And music videos have gotten cheaper too, because I've actually like I dropped the album earlier this month. Instead of doing music videos, I just did short form content.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, the amount of money I would have spent on a music video, I put 200 videos in the vault, 30-second clips that look like major music videos. But it's not.
Did that crush for you?
I mean, just being independent, I feel like it was easier on my pockets. Definitely a lot easier. I think because once you put out the video and you post it, it's like, okay, I can't just post the same video again. The algorithm needs something fresh and new. You know what I mean? So being independent, like it's like this song needs to feel new to whoever's seeing it for the first time.
Right, valid.
You know what I mean? So I think it's helped.
Yeah.
Until that song blows up so big enough where you're like, all right, let me go do that big budget music video.
But I have a question for each of you in your fields. You started your careers prior to social media, right? Correct.
Yeah.
You as well, right?
Yeah.
Before social media.
MySpace,
Yeah.
they hadn't really hit
but
yet.
specifically like Instagram and those things, right? Like, how has social media changed what you do on a day-to-day and how you market it? Like, you know, like for you, it was like you were going to the park and just the people that were in the park saw you, and beyond that, it's you just have to, like, how has social media changed, like, your profession?
It's changed it in a humongous way. I think there's probably a lot of pros and cons, but I think a lot of the pros are like, it used to be in skateboarding, it's kind of similar to like acting or even music, like where people all over the world who had a dream to be an actor or a musician or a skater, they dream to make it to LA because this is where the industry is. But now, as a skater, you can have your Instagram or whatever platform you want to be on and just showcase your progress, showcase your new skating, your tricks, and catch the attention of the industry instantly. You can DM a company and be like, hey, here's my footage, check me out. So you can, get attention from wherever you're at, which is a huge blessing. Whereas before, like, we had to know somebody who had a camera, somebody who could edit, who could film you, who would come out with you and be willing to watch you and like spend the whole day watching you mess up and fall over and over again until you finally land that one trick. And then give you the footage, and you finally gather 3 minutes or so, or whatever it is, to mail a physical VHS tape in to some company that you saw their address in a magazine. So it's like, it was like, so social media now gives people so much more access to getting seen, which is, I think, great, because now you're seeing like huge movements in different areas. Like Europe is huge in skating right now. Like the Europeans, the Japanese, everybody's getting their different spotlights. So in that sense, it's great. For a guy like me who's a little older, I had to adjust to it, but like it's an out of sight, out of mind thing. If you're not constantly putting something out, then you just get lost because every day new content is coming, something new is dropping, somebody did a new, never been done thing before every day. So you have to constantly like be pushing yourself to be working. So it's like the hustle stepped up even harder to stay relevant. But
Have you felt that, Miguel?
Yeah.
Like,
Hell yeah, absolutely. I have. You know, I think it's easy to just kind of, and it's been a long time. So even in the last, few years, the iteration of like the way the music industry and like getting music out and how fans really connect and discover music has changed a number of times. That's why when Jacob was mentioning like, you know what, I'm gonna just do a bunch of really well done, and first and foremost, this man can literally be like quick iPhone selfie and just bust and go crazy and they're gonna, they're gonna love it. It definitely makes you think about how to be effective in your own unique way. And I think the great thing is there's an opportunity for everyone to show their unique point of view. I think the thing for me has been figuring out how to tell a story, but also maintain a sense of or to break the fourth wall in my unique way, and I think I've always been more of a like recluse and kind of just to myself in that way. So, I'm learning.
that's dope.
I think the thing that bothers me though is that in the time that we live in, companies expect you to do way too much work. And that's what's weird.
I back
is that
that.
because then you're wondering, well, why do I have you?
yes.
And I'll
Just
say
like post and you
specifically,
like, yo, like,
Yeah,
where's the
like-
ads?
I started doing stand-up. I didn't know, I loved it. I didn't know it was a job because I come from a family that's very blue collar. And we were taught that jobs had to hurt, manual labor, physical labor. So to have a job where you think, ridiculous, right? My mom had died. I was a caregiver. And I was stuck in Dallas. And I needed a job. And I applied as a server at an Italian restaurant. And then I applied to this help wanted ad, and it was the comedy club in Dallas. And I got hired as the office manager at the club. And this is back in 2002? So back then, we were just on the cusp of MySpace. So clubs actually had to work to get seats filled. And they would.
When you take that job, is it with the belief of I want to be a comic, or I just need a gig?
No, I needed a gig. And
okay.
actually, and it's funny because my family, we used to watch stand-up growing up because like back in the day, it was like MTV's half-hour comedy hour. HBO had the specials. They had comic relief, everything, right? So we grew up watching it, but I never thought about it being a live thing, right? And when I got the job, they were like, your job is to fill these seats. And I was like, okay. And every week, I would design these ads to promote the comics. We'd book morning radio. We would book all this publicity and everything. And it worked. And back then, word of mouth was so powerful because we didn't have social media. So in order for people to find out about it, that's how good you were. That they would watch it and then tell other people to watch it. Then with social media, especially as a comic, it's exhausting. I was just talking to my friend the other day. I'm 46. I'm at that cusp where, like, I get it now. When I was growing up and I would see older people that they just decided that they were done learning technology, right? You know what I mean? Or they're just like, yo, DVD player is as far as I go, right? Like
I'm good right here.
Yeah, like I never understood it, and now that's where I'm at now, where it's like I see so many comics, their whole life is trying to create content, and it's just like, well, so. How do you decide the content that is social media content? How do you decide that the writing is going to be a joke that you're going to work on in a special? Because comedy is different than in music. You can go see a band that's been on the road for 40 years, 30 years, and you love that song, right? But in stand-up, you go see it, and you repeat a joke, and they're like, boo, we heard it already. And it's like...
That's why crowd work has become so popular with a lot of these people. A lot of the
Yes.
comics, you just see them when they post is crowd work because they don't want to give you like their gems.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But see, that's the danger because a lot of times people don't realize the artists, the performers, they're teaching their audience what to expect.
Right.
So if you give them too much crowd work,
Then they just
and you're
wanna
maybe
see
not
that
the
all.
crowd work person, they feel like, I don't know who I'm gonna go see. Because
Right.
I knew you as being the crowd work person. Then you show up and you're like, what, you're giving me scripted jokes? Get out of here. Make fun of that person. You know, so it's weird. I think that for me, I realized, you know, I'm a big Billy Joel fan. And there's a song called The Entertainer. Right? And the chorus that, you know, like you get put on the back in the discount rack like another can of beans. If you don't keep going on the road, you don't keep putting out new stuff. And I got to the point where I was like, I can't put out stuff all the time because I'm also at a point where I want to be able to live my life. I don't want to live my life for other people and expect them to give me likes.
Do you feel that social media can find you getting burnt out based off of
Yes.
oversaturating it?
Yes.
Yes.
Because at the same time, it's like everybody wants to be funny.
Right. But also, it's kind of like a two-edged sword because there's some people that have the concept of like posting every day continues
Yes.
to get engagement and lets people know you're relevant. Other people's like, it's a little mystique. You know what I'm saying? I post a little bit then,
Yes.
a little bit now, and then when I have something coming up.
I think you have to
that's
pick and
something to say?
choose. Yeah, because like to me, it's like I'm very reclusive. I'm an introvert.
Okay.
Like, you know, people think that if I do stand up, I just want to be out and about and everything. I was just saying, I'm like, if I have my choice, I'm at home, I'm watching murder shows and I'm building Legos. Like that's it. And sometimes you think of the way that things used to be.
Right.
And you're just like, damn, I kind of miss it.
Absolutely.
I want other people to help me work for it. I don't
That's like a double-edged sword because like I feel that way a lot of times too, but I also know that if I don't get with the times, I'm gonna become irrelevant soon, you know? So like, okay, quit being stubborn. Yes, I feel like my era was the golden era. Yes, we feel like it was special here, but this is now the time. This is where technology's at. Do I still want a career? Do I still want to be involved? Okay, well then put your pride aside. How do I, intertwine with what's going on today? It's challenging, and it's like it's a battle with your pride or ego or whatever the case may be. But
But I also think you were ahead of your time,
Definitely.
Paul, in that like you sometimes see a lot of people in any genre that's like they're gonna squeeze all the juice out of the thing they do, and when it's over, right? And you can never guarantee how long the audience is gonna clap, right? You were like ahead of the curve on like the business side of it, of like thinking like what this thing could be, like like your Nike deal and getting it. By the way, like I worked at Nike, like I don't think people understand or can fathom how difficult or how rare it is to have a signature Nike shoe, which you have. I mean, it's like Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, like that list is like rare air. Did you realize that, like when you got your signature shoe when you were young and starting, like,
Yeah.
like what an accomplishment that was?
oh man, it was definitely not lost on me, but I actually sometimes look back at myself. I was 19 when I signed with Nike, and I was
19?
19. Thank you. And like, but my
I still don't got a
19-year-old
Nike
self.
deal.
I've been singing for years. Ain't nobody giving me no
Still
shoes.
got a Nike deal.
No, but my 19-year-old self was focused, clear enough on his vision to be stubborn, and I'm so grateful for that kid because at 19, when Nike came to me, so in skateboarding, we didn't know that Nike was something you can get an endorsement with. Like it wasn't the norm. So like we have our little industry, we have our little sneaker brands, our little brands and our little ecosystem. And that's all I thought was the ceiling for what I could do. And Nike came knocking one day and they flew me down to the campus. We go to the campus, I'm with my agent, they're wowing me and they're like, telling me they want to bring me on to Nike. And so we fly back from Beaverton and we get home, my agent calls me, hey, these are the deal points and blah, 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 blah. And like, I was like, wow, these are numbers I didn't understand, couldn't fathom. But I was like, are they gonna give me a signature shoe? She's like, well, they're not really wanting to give signature shoes to skateboarders. And I was like, oh man, well, thank you so much, but I can't accept it. I told her no. I was like, because my dream as a skater is like, if you have a signature shoe and a signature board, that's the dream. That was my dream from 12 years old, like have my own signature shoe, my shoe, my board on the wall. That was my
family
goal.
always supportive just of your skating dreams? Like,
My mother for sure was. My dad didn't quite understand that there was a career there. Not that he wasn't supportive, he just didn't.
How you gonna
Yeah,
pay
he
the
didn't
bills
understand. He was
riding
like,
that
I don't see where.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
see
like,
where you're
skateboarding,
going.
how's that gonna work?
How you gonna pay rent?
comedy.
Yeah, he came from comedy, but like he was like whatever. He's a boy. He likes skateboarding. He likes baseball. He likes sports. He likes roughhousing. He's just being a kid. That's what he looked at. It wasn't unsupportive. It was just
Didn't
Didn't
understand.
Little
take it
naive.
serious.
Got it.
yeah. It was
But you
like,
turned down the initial Nike deal.
because I was with another brand and I was already wearing the samples of my signature shoe with another brand. And I was like, well, dang it. Like, tell them I appreciate it, but I just can't. Like, my dream's not fulfilled if I can't have a signature
And you're
shoe.
making that decision to potentially walk away from Nike at 19.
Yeah, I'm 19. I'm naive. I don't know if I could have the balls to do it now.
Yeah.
But thank God at 19, I was like so clear on my vision. And she went back, she told them. And a couple of days later, she said, they said, fine, they'll do it. And so like for me, like that, I'm so grateful to that kid who was stubborn to do that, because here we are now, 10 signature shoes later. And I'm just so grateful. I'm here 20 years later.
20 years.
Like, God is good, man. Thank
Hey,
you.
Paul, I got a question then. Since you made so many drastic decisions at a young age and you were, ahead of your time, and this is to all of you, what is a lesson or something that you learned while being young that you still incorporate into your business and to your lifestyle and your career now?
I think trying to stay as close as you can to that pure, passionate, untainted side of you as you can. Because I'm not gonna lie, as time goes on, you start getting paid, you get a certain level of fame, you get a certain level of expectation from the public. Whether you try or not, like, it does have effect on your decision-making skills as time goes on. But if you can try as hard as you can to block that out and stay as close to that pure side of it as you can, that kid who was just so passionate about their dream as you can, the better, I think. But it's easier said than done, for sure. Like,
I think a big lesson, I think that you actually, that story that you told is actually something that I tell everybody, is that a lot of times the only power we have is to say no. And that's really hard for a lot of people, because a lot of people will say, but why? What if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't come around? And you're like, well, then it wasn't meant to be. Because it's really easy to say yes, because the numbers are given to you and everything. Like, to me, I think an important lesson that I kept is I realized, actually, I like maintaining the lifestyle that I have.
Yeah.
I'm very low debt, low lifestyle, because I never want to get into the position where I have to say yes to things I don't want to do to maintain my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So,
low
and
maintenance.
So good.
yeah, so it's like that thing where I'm like, because I spent half of my life, most of my life, living in poverty. So having that, you're like, man, I get really happy when I discover things that I'm just like, word, like, you can do that. Like, so for me, it's like, I always say, like, I was always scared of my choices. I was always scared of what I was gonna do. But then I thought, regardless of whether you like it or not, tomorrow's gonna happen. So how do you wanna live your tomorrow?
Yeah.
And also, I love having people around me that tell me no.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, okay. I'm gonna disagree with you just a little bit.
Now we're
curious.
getting
Now
into
we're
the
getting
thick
to
of
it.
it.
curious.
Shot, baby.
Let me get my brass knuckles.
I was like, I don't want it. I don't want the smoke. But I'm curious because I've always felt like it's important to have a real sense of the purpose of things. And I think the question that we were talking about, is like, when things change, how do you adapt, or do we still want to adapt? And I think for me, I find it's important to find a new reason and like a new purpose, right?
100%.
And I actually prefer to be just outside of my depth so that I rise to a new requirement for the purpose. You know what I mean? And like, as long as I have a purpose, like, social media, what have you, I think changing my purpose, and that took a long time for me. I had to take some time. But I found in the practice that it's actually, the opportunity to redefine yourself and to redefine the thing that's driving you is probably one of the greatest things I've learned in this life. Because in the beginning, it was easy. It was easy that I was so delusional, I didn't have to choose. It was innate. It was so, oh, I'm gonna do this. And there's nothing anyone can tell me, you know? And then kind of coming to a place where you sort of see it all the way through.
Yeah.
And then you have a choice.
Yeah.
But
If
I think
you-
we're actually
you know
saying
what I
the
mean?
same thing, because to me
Yeah.
it's like you have to grow, but as you grow and as you evolve, you always have to maintain a good sense of who you are.
Have to.
You know, because that is
or redefine who you are.
right. And even in the redefining, you have to use the skills and take access. Like you have to take stock of what you are, so that when you're redefining yourself, you think, what is my history? Who am I? Everything. It's because redefining, you can have redefining that puts you in a worse spot or in a great spot.
Yeah, that's what
you
we
know,
don't
so
want.
having a good sense of who you are, you know, is something that I think is so important. And in order to do that, you really have to take stock of everything that you've been doing, because you always have to evolve. It is. It's about like me forcing myself to try to make TikTok work. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like
TikTok dance.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just like just like, hey everybody. So anyway, like you know, it's ridiculous.
You too goddamn grown to be in front of the camera. Like,
And it's crazy because like on TikTok they'll dance and give you like straight up like tax information. You know, it's like, hey, anyway, about like you're just like, what? Like so no,
Did you know the new rule, like the new tax law? You can write that truck off now.
hey everybody, how you
When you
like,
talk
you're-
about redefining yourself, like how will people hear that in this new album that's coming? How do you pronounce the title?
Chaos, yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah, the word in Spanish for chaos.
Oh, fire.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how would like people get to know this new version of Miguel with this new album?
Man, this one's probably the most about just that. It's like redefining.
Yeah.
And I think and refining and understanding, like, you know, every plant on earth requires the ultimate, like the proper conditions.
Yeah.
You know, you take a rubber tree from the Amazon and you plant it in the desert, or you take a cactus and you put it in the Amazon. Those are not the optimal conditions for its growth, right? Yeah. And so I think what I'm learning and what I've learned to embrace is that chaos or chaos is optimal conditions for growth. And it's what is required for us to refine and to hone. And I think that it gives us, again, that opportunity to really lock in on, like, man, who am I really? Yeah. At the core, which is why I love you saying, like, man, you know, staying as close to the like, I am so driven, this, like, I could do this and it makes me happy every day, and just staying as close to that as possible is like such a key, it's a key thing, you know, the joy in that and like the fun.
It comes through the heart too.
Yeah, this album is probably like the non-linear nature of change and how manic that could be. Because I'm sure we've all felt like we had the answer. Like, I got it. Oh, can I say that? Yeah, we could say that. I'm like, I got it. You know what I mean? Like, I finally learned the lesson in this, and then you start going, and then, you know, life will throw something at you to check if you really truly got it. And you might waver, you might swerve a little bit, and you have to self-correct. But I think that refining process is just life's way of making sure you really are about what you're saying you're about.
Let me ask you, this album, it's super interesting to me because you've had a ton of success doing the thing you do, right? There's like your sound and the thing you're known for. Does it feel like you're taking a leap of faith and you're getting uncomfortable in this next project, or is this more like coming back to your roots? And
I'm uncomfortable right now. This is not my comfort zone. I love
it.
That's not it.
I love it. You're killing it, brother. You're killing
I mean,
it.
you look
Good.
real
Good.
good. You look really comfortable. So I'm just letting you know.
Listen, it's always the people. It's never the place. Always the people, never the
100%.
place.
I got a question.
Yeah.
When making an album, like, can you explain how do you know when you're like, all right, that's it, it's done, I'm ready to package it and put it out? Like, I feel like the creative process, like, it's so hard to determine where the finish point is.
Man, I don't know. I
Yeah.
still don't know. If I could, I'd still be in the studio right now. But I do think that there's small signs, I think, and I probably look at life more than I look at the music, or like because by the time anyone else hears it, and Jacob, we know this, like we done heard the record
1,000 times.
1,000 times. We done played it for our mom, our best friend, our girlfriend, a possible next girlfriend. You know, we've kind of gone through it, and then we've heard it in all these iterations and trying to get it right. I think for me, it's always been like life being like me, like I'm ready to move on.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And I'm hoping I'm determined actually to make that, to my attention to life, paying more attention to life as opposed to being so like, oh, it's gotta be,
Sure,
you know, it's
sure,
like, you gotta hit I don't have to land it,
Right.
you know. It's not
Right.
it's not as like, you know, you're giving it your time and your effort, and you're also like protecting yourself. Like you either do or you do not.
Right.
The great thing that I have a blessing of is like I play every instrument terribly. You know what I mean? I am not the best vocalist, but you know, I know how to express myself. And it's just
Right.
like whenever.
And
I
your
can
art's
do
very
that.
subjective.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? His is he landed it or he didn't.
Right.
you.
Right.
Yeah.
This is what our show is all about. Real conversations with an amazing group of people. You could be at your local barbershop or your local Starbucks. It's all about the stories, the energy. So go get yourself a drink, order a coffee, tea, whatever you prefer. We've got a lot more to get to.
I think that to me, having a deadline is always the best
You
thing
work
for me.
you work best against a deadline?
Yes, because I know when the end point is. Because if it isn't, then how do you know I could be going on forever, right? Like I always say, like when you shoot a special, you don't even, it's not necessarily that it's done. It's that that's a snapshot of what it looks like that night. Mm-hmm. You know, so you can always improve it and stuff and everything, but that's a snapshot. But if I didn't have a deadline, like when I shot the special and I knew that I was shooting it on June 14th, you're gonna be ready on June 14th, whether you like it or not.
What are you pulling from exactly? Like you pulling from family, just life, just.
And, you
brief,
know,
like-
my stand-up actually evolved a lot. When I started stand-up, I actually started stand-up because I was mourning my mom. And I couldn't afford therapy. So I started writing about my mom. Wow. And it was Wanda Sykes came into the club, and her opener, Keith Robinson, we were hanging out, and he looked at me and he's like, "You're gonna do stand-up." And I had no idea, no plan or anything. And I had already written stuff about my mom. And I started telling stories about my mom, and it did really well. And I was like, well, this is kind of insane. So the first special, my specials are, it's a trilogy, right? So the first special was called Lower Classy. The second one was called Middle Classy. And this one's called Upper Classy. And the goal is to show the ascension of life. Because you wanted to see how you evolve as a person. So as I evolved, like the last one, I'm very vocal about current events, where we are politically. Okay. And it became this evolution.
Everything's fine, so everything's.
Well, the whole special was me looking at the camera and saying, "We good.
Everything's fine.
We good. Estamos bien. We good. Todavía bien." But you know, like.
But even within that's an interesting. You bring up an interesting point, because if your content, or at least some of it, is political, how your core community views what's happening in politics may be very different than the wider audience views it. How do you balance that thing between content for your hardcore community and a wider audience? Or do you not care about the wider audience? Like I'll give you an example, like Bad Bunny said in an interview, I made an album for Puerto Rico and I'm just surprised everyone loved it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, look, it's, what is it? Was it Rick Rubin in the interview when they interviewed him and he said, I do stuff for me. I do stuff that I like. You got to.
Yeah.
Because if you try to do things for other people, you're never gonna win.
No, you jam
You're never done.
yourself up.
Yeah,
That's how you jam
you
yourself
give
up.
them way too much power. Right. Yeah. And like once you give them way too much power, you're screwed.
Is an album successful to you before you put it out, or is it like it's got to sell a certain amount? Like what? I mean, obviously there's a business side to it, but for you, the art,
I would like to say that I have an answer for that. There have been times where I put a lot of my value in the commercial success, whatever, and I've done a lot of work to make sure that when I do come, coming back now is like, it's about really like, is this what I really wanted to say? Is this my opportunity to connect with who I'm meant to connect with? And as long as I can say yes, and I deeply, truly feel that this body of work, and also, again, the purpose behind is like, it's about really building an intimate relationship with my audience. You know, I think that's where the opportunity with social media has been incredible, because you see kids locking in. They are so locked in with their audience. Like, they could be doing nothing. I'm brushing my teeth today, and you know what I'm saying? I just kind of, and the audience is gonna pull up and they're gonna watch. And I think
They won't even brush their own teeth. They'll
and then
watch
they're gonna
them
do
brush
it even
their
while they.
teeth.
You hear,
that's
so
crazy.
so
100%.
that's like, I think that's the greatest way to answer that question is, my purpose now is different, you know, and so I would say it's already successful to me because I feel it opens up an opportunity to have conversation about, you know, self-worth, about change, about our views in this time where it feels like we're all seeing that there's something wrong, and somehow we don't know what to do about it. You know, it's like the feeling of being disenfranchised and have angst as a grown-up.
Are you gonna like maybe in this album like connect like to more of the Mexican heritage with the Black heritage? Are you gonna be speaking different language on this? On this album? Like,
Yep.
be-
You got any mariachi?
Not yet. That's the neck. Nah. We do actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my God.
The first song on the album has that.
I don't know
vibe,
what it
yeah.
is, but like mariachi music starts playing, and I go into like
I mean, it's not
I go
full
into
banda.
robot mode. Like,
Oh, you hit that?
No,
Yeah,
no,
you
no,
hit
no.
that.
Because like I know the songs, I know the music so well that I could be talking to you. If there's a mariachi thing, I'm like, da, 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 how you, like I love it. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
You said you was learning Spanish, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, my Spanish is it's alright. It's alright.
Más o menos.
I'm one of the.
Well, look, I don't know it either. I don't know it
See,
either.
see.
But P-Rod, let me ask you about that, because
Yeah.
I will tell you, if someone asked me, am I fluent in Spanish, my answer would be, depends who's asking.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
If someone that doesn't speak Spanish asks me, I am fluent. I say it with my chest.
Sure.
If
But when
Cristela
someone
asks
does,
me, I'm like, más o menos. Poquito.
because you know they're gonna be on
Yeah.
the second you start
100%.
speaking
And I will
wrong.
tell you, I had an experience like, I'd go back to Puerto Rico and I'd speak English. And I'd go to a restaurant and I'd order in English, and even if they'd be struggling to answer me, I had like an insecurity about it.
Right.
And I think a lot of that came from because although both my parents are Puerto Rican, I was born in New York, we have a home in Puerto Rico, I've gone back and forth. I consider myself as Puerto Rican as my parents. I think people that were born in Puerto Rico look at me as like a New York Rican right? And do you guys feel that? Do you feel that like, you were born here, P-Rod?
Yeah, I was born in LA.
Like, do you feel that like, I don't know if you go back and visit Mexico or like being around your Mexican family that was
Sure,
born there, do you
sure.
feel that difference?
Yes, I do. Cause like I'm Mexican on both sides, but my mom is like third generation.
Okay.
So my mom doesn't even speak Spanish. She grew up in an era where her parents wanted the kids to like assimilate. They didn't even speak, like my grandparents speak Spanish on my mom's side, perfect. But their children, none of them speak Spanish. And I grew up in the house with my mom. My dad, he's straight from Mexico, born in Mexico. All my dad's side, straight out of Mexico, migrant farm workers, everything. And they all speak fluent. So I grew up with my mom in the household with her, wasn't taught Spanish. But I felt so bad as I got older, like, man, I'm full-blooded Mexican, and why don't I speak my language? So I took it upon for the longest time I was like, well, I wasn't taught it, so it's not my fault. But once you hit a certain age and you're an adult, if you don't know anything, it's your fault. So when I realized that, now I'm like, okay, no, it's my fault if I continue to not know. So now I just speak Spanish with every single person I know who speaks Spanish all the time, and I annoy them with them because I just want to speak Spanish to them all the time. So I would say my Spanish is decent. Now, within the last 3-4 years, it's been like a real mission of mine to like speak regularly.
The shame that people make people try to feel when they can't
Yeah.
speak it on their level. Like
Yeah.
seriously, like no offense, but go yourself. Like honestly, like at this point, like I hate when people assume that if they don't know Spanish, if somebody isn't fluent in Spanish, that makes them less than
Yeah,
what
you're not
they
less
are.
Mexican than what you are. You're Mexican
Because
or
we
Puerto
also
Rican.
don't talk enough about how the way that we were raised in time, and by we, I mean like parents, grandparents. There was a time in this country where schools used to spank and hit children if they heard them talking in Spanish. Now, when I was a kid, I would get spanked if I was heard talking in Spanish at school. I was an ESL kid. Wow. And it was that thing where they would want to take the Spanish away from you. And we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about the erasure that people try to do in this society to take away any culture, any sense of identity that we have. So it always bothers me when people try to shame people that don't speak Spanish, because you got to know your history. There's a reason why people don't know. There's a reason why people weren't taught that, because a lot of times parents were shamed into saying, you don't need to learn. And they even if it's subconscious, they start thinking, well, yeah, we shouldn't speak Spanish. And it always angers me because like growing up, Spanish is my first language. My mom had a rule. We had to speak Spanish at home because she couldn't speak English. So she wanted to understand everything that was being said in the house, right? But then in school, I had to speak English, and
you
it's
couldn't speak Spanish in school.
right, so it's like this thing where you're like, dude, I'm 8.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, how am I trying to learn all of the society rules that you're giving me when I can barely write?
But it's such a blessing now.
It is. But it's kind of what you're saying. It's like when, as an adult, if you don't learn it, it's also something we don't talk about enough, that when you become an adult, when you're an adult, you have so many fears, you have so many disappointments, you have so many things that stifle you, right? That learning a new thing is terrifying.
It can be.
I can't swim. I never learned to swim.
Me neither.
I just signed up for swimming classes, and it starts on Sunday.
I've been intentional about it.
Why?
Because it's what Paul was saying about Spanish. It was this thing where it's like, I'm an adult, and I love being outdoors. When I turned 40, I realized, like, girl, you got, like, on a good day, if life is good, I have another 40 years minimum to go.
Conversation we were
This is
just
good conversation, man. Because I just
Yeah.
turned 29 this year. I'm like, get some last in my 20s.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And I'm going into 30s.
That
and I'm
messed
just like,
me up going from 29 to 30. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, it threw me for a loop for sure. Especially because like, sorry to cut you off. I was just, but like, because I'm in a, I guess, athletic endeavor. So in my
that
mind,
makes
I
sense.
always knew there was a time limit. So for me, as a skater, I'm like 30. Oh my gosh, that means it's almost over for me. It's all.
I think
How old
that
is
is a
Tony?
beautiful.
How old is Tony though?
Tony's
Oh,
like
he's
he's
also
like
an anomaly,
55,
what
but
he's
he's
done.
on a elder
Yeah.
statesman. Like he's good, like legend, solidified. He doesn't have to like.
You just commercials for supplements, dude.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well,
like he's saying
nowadays,
about
with the way people know how to
osteoporosis.
take care of each other and modern science, we're pushing the limit. I'm 40 now, so I still feel great. I'm skating every day. I'm working out every day. I'm still
I
trying
think
to
there's something
contribute.
beautiful about that thing. I was having a conversation with a couple years ago with Jimmy Iovine, right, music exec, and you obviously know Jimmy, and he was inviting us to like his birthday party or something. He was actually giving Maverick a hard time about like, you haven't confirmed yet, and Mav, in a very funny way, was like, Jimmy, it's in 8 months. Why are you stressing me, right? About like, let me figure it out, whatever. And Jimmy said, I think he was maybe turning 55 or something like that at the time. And he was like, when you get my age, you realize you only have 15 great summers left. And what he meant by that means you could travel, you have your health, you could get up, you could do this thing, you go, all those things. And when he said that, I was like, oh, right? So I think you guys saying like, my last year in my 20s, I don't take it as a negative. I take it as a like, don't wait, do the thing. Let's all do the thing. If this world's taught us anything, nothing's guaranteed.
right.
Take the
should
swim
all-
class.
yeah, we should all do the
Learn
thing.
to speak Spanish.
We should
Do
all
the
do the
album.
thing.
Do the thing. I think it's a beautiful. Like we should all do the thing. Why wait?
And it's important to have these conversations.
Yep.
It's important.
Absolutely.
Like this is one of the reasons that I actually wanted to come on here, because I think the conversations that I see, the most organic conversations come out of the most random thing, and we get specific. And I think this specifically is something that we should talk more about, because during the pandemic, we realized that everything can change on a dime. Like, and you know, like when it started, they said in 2 weeks, we'll be back.
Yeah.
Right? And then you realize it wasn't that.
It wasn't that.
And even now, like I tell people all the time, like when you're trying to promote something or anything post-COVID, now you got Zooms. So now they think that you're available all the time.
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
and it's like it's all this stuff where you're just like, now they expect you to work more because you have the option to work more. But what about living?
Yeah.
You know, I say this all the time. This country teaches you how to work hard. They don't teach you how to live hard. So when do we learn how to live? We are taught in this country that you work your ass off, then hopefully you can retire. And that's when they want you to live.
Right.
When your back throws out, like I hurt my back so much. Like, dude, I sneeze, I'm out for a week.
And I think sometimes we age ourselves too fast too.
We
I
do.
feel like
Well, there's a reason. There's a reason for that. I have a
okay.
thought on that. We age ourselves against the ages our parents were when we were kids. So when I was a kid and my dad was 30, I'm like, he's old as dirt. I might lose him at any moment at 30, right?
Man,
Now I'm like,
35.
I might lose him at any moment. I might lose him. 30.
Wow, father is kicking up.
Yeah, touch and go.
But also the reverse. When you have kids,
For sure.
when you have kids too,
For sure.
you look at them and you're like, I'm old as dirt.
Yes, for sure. But I think the point you were making about an athlete, like how you were saying how when he asked you what's that age, it's like when you were skating, maybe it was 30, and now it's 40, now it's 45, because you guys are taking care of yourselves better, you're eating better, we have better information.
Yeah, so when I turned 30, to go back to that it was like a midlife crisis for me. Most people it was a little later, but for me, I'm like, it really threw me for a loop. Like,
Because you're looking at it through your sport. Right?
yeah,
Like,
my career, my passion, the only thing I ever knew since I've been 11 years old, you know? So like, then I was like, I hit 30 and this always seemed like some far off in the distant, never gonna happen time. And here I am facing it. Yeah, it was like full midlife crisis. Like,
Was there something that you found kind of get you out of that mode and just go, oh, okay, well, I got a lot ahead of me and I wanna.
for me, it was God, man. I would be in my prayers and I just ask for guidance, ask for like
that.
perspective. Like, you know, I would catch myself looking at things like in almost like a grumpy, bitter way in some ways. And then I would like realize like, wait a minute, I should be so lucky to have a career in something like skateboarding still at 30. I can't believe it. Like, I'm still in the game. I still get this opportunity. I still get to do this. I still have endorsements, you know, supporting me in my passion, you know. So like, it was like reframing my perspective, I guess.
I think perspective is key in anything. Because like, as we get older and as we evolve and as we experience things, if I threw a number on the ground, you may see a 6, you may see a 9.
Right.
And depending on your perspective in life, you'll either go at it that way or go at it another way. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like as we grow, we continue to look at things based off of what we see ourselves doing.
That's a
Some
song.
people,
I'm
you know what
writing
I'm
that
saying?
song.
Hey, yeah, and I'm gonna get my credit. Just make sure. Don't worry, I got your credit. You got credit. Yeah, go ahead. It's national. It's on air. Y'all got that. Y'all got that locked in. So
Miguel's new album, 6 or
Just so you
9.
know. Song written by Tune then. Yeah, just like that. No, putting in fine print. It's gonna be his biggest hit. Right.
When you said
Let me
it, I
go
was
back.
like, damn,
It's a
that's
TikTok
good
clip.
line.
Remember when?
Is there an age limit on music though? I mean, I feel like it's not.
I
Is
think
it?
that's a cultural thing,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because we love, at least like culturally, like black and brown people, it's like, that guy's still rapping? What is he, 45, whatever? Meanwhile, U2 still on tour, The Grateful
Bono,
Dead, all those guys.
Ghostface just dropped the
Metallica
album.
Which is why I love to see him like,
Nas is hard.
Nas is going on a crazy run.
I love it. That's why
Hope's
we need
still
you to
going
keep
strong.
skating. We need you to keep skating. We need you to keep pushing
God
the bar.
willing,
We
as
need
long as
all.
these knees and
We
ankles are
need all
going,
that.
I'm here.
I will tell you. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. Very, very. He's 65. He's extremely successful in business. And I asked him, I said, if you could go back and be any age, what would it be? And his answer shocked me. I thought he'd say 21 or 18 or whatever. He said 40. And I said, really? Why 40? And he said, because when you're 20, 21, you don't know anything. You think you know everything, but you don't, right? He goes, when you're 30, you're starting to figure out what you're good at, but you haven't had enough life experience or enough, like, you haven't made real money yet, like you're gonna make. He's like, when you're 40, it should all start coming together. You know what you're really good at, you know what you're not, you've had enough experience in it, and you can start kind of like making money in a real way. And I was like, wow, that makes sense. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, when we were kids, 40, again, touch and go. We might lose them.
Ancient.
Any day. Like, it's
40
like,
equals 400.
what? 100%. But now I think because we've but because we've seen people, we've seen the Jays, we've seen the Nas's, we've seen the U's now, we've seen the Tonys, we've seen, you know, it's like, oh no, wait a minute, we can extend this thing and push it further and do this.
I just went to go see Stevie. Like, Stevie was going crazy at Staples. Like, and Metallica by my apartment in Chicago sold out 3 nights in a row. Just
Dude, I just saw Toto, Christopher Cross, and Men at Work in Vegas last week.
Wow.
All day, every day. Let me tell you, the way that I was more excited than I thought I would be with Christopher Cross. But actually, I wanted to ask Paul a question because I think skateboarding, I love watching it. I know nothing about it, right? So it's like, and I know it seems like a silly question, but like, what do you do in skateboard as a career? As someone like you know, it's like how you know, it's like you don't do a skating album.
Well, you do.
Do you?
Yeah. So I've always compared skateboarding more closely to music than I have to actual sports, because in traditional sports, it's about stats. This guy scores this amount of points. This guy gets this many blocks, this many this. He fits in our team, in our system. We don't have a guy like that. We could use him. Doesn't matter if he looks funny, got a funny little shot. He's a superstar. He gets a mega contract. With skateboarding, it's more like music in the sense of there's guys who can do every trick in the world, who can skate circles around me, but nobody cares because maybe they don't do it finessefully. They look like they're struggling and it's so hard. They dress a little, maybe not appealing to the masses, or their trick selection is not there. Their personality's off. Same thing in music. Like, there's plenty of musicians, artists who are classically trained, brilliant, can name every song and do everything on every instrument. Like how you were saying, you're not good at all of them, but you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? So like, there's people who are good at everything, brilliant at everything, but no one cares. Is a certain like charisma to it. There's a certain style factor. You know, it's a frequency, an algorithm to it, I guess. But so like so in skateboarding, the way I came up was what's called video parts, which is essentially an album for skating, and you put your 3 to 5 minutes of your best skate footage that you can skating out in the streets, filmed in certain artistic ways, and you put it out, and then the people dictate. Like if the fans are drawn to you after you put it out, then you know if the public takes to you or not. And so, you know, there is competitions, but there's guys who win competitions all the time that people don't really know about. But I would say, like, to have the right balance of street skating and competition is like similar to an artist who can put out a great album, but also then can go out and perform it live in a real way. You know, you have accolades like Grammys and whatnot like that. Same thing in skateboarding. You have different accolades and awards you're given. So skateboarding, I would say, is more comparable to music, man, because it's subjective. You can't say that anyone is the best. Like maybe in certain sports you can say someone is the best just off their stats. But in skateboarding, like music, how can you gonna compare to Jimi Hendrix to Beethoven?
100%.
They're both amazing. It's preference. Same thing in skateboarding. Same thing even in comedy. Like it's like, you know, there's people who are, you know, widely recognized as awesome and cool and whatnot, but like everybody got something for everybody. You can always find your audience. There's a group that will take to you that might think you're the best, might think this guy's the best. So it's like, it's very subjective.
I've never heard a more like succinct than like, I'm like, oh yeah, it's like mixtapes. Like
yeah.
like, like putting out clips of yours, like that's a mixtape.
It's
and, like,
exactly
yo,
what it
people
is.
fuck
And
with it
now
now.
with social media, it's like even small, like literal mixtapes. Before it was like albums. Now it's like just mixtapes every week. You got to be dropping. You got to be dropping, putting out new
Kind
stuff.
of remind me of like a putting together an acting reel. Like, they say, okay, put together your best scenes and the best 5 minutes of that, and then I'm like, this is my crying scene here. This is a scene where I made people laugh, and you putting out
What
your
do you
best work
find
like
works
that.
the most, like on that side?
Just as far as like,
Just in terms of like the kind of thing that people like that you always like, I'm gonna kill this and they're gonna love this.
I think it's just about telling the truth in the scene, right? Like when you got a great cast, it's easy. It's easy to feed off.
I mean, you've done acting.
I had a sitcom,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you, I was actually telling my friend this
Wait, tell me the
today.
name of it. I'm sorry.
Huh?
Tell me the name of the sitcom. Sorry.
It was actually my name.
For real?
Yeah, I was the first Latina to have a sitcom.
I said yeah, like I was like, oh yeah. You know, when someone does the nice to see you. You're like,
No,
sorry.
in 2014, I became the first Latina to write, create, and star in their own sitcom. So it was like that thing where
Recognition. Come on.
and it was that thing where what made it hard is that being the first means that no one knows how to treat you. First of all, if you're a minority, a lot of people might not know how to treat you. You know, most of the industry is filled by white people. I don't know if you've heard. So, what I discovered, first of all, growing up, I didn't have a lot of Latino shows to watch. So I actually accidentally fell in love with Black culture because it felt more familiar to me and the way that I was growing up than a lot of other things. But then when I discovered, I never thought I was ever going to have a show because I was considered plus size. They're like, when I had my show, I had a crooked tooth. They're like, you got a crooked tooth and you're fat. You can't be on TV. And I was like, oh, damn, okay.
How you really feel?
I was like, okay,
It really
thank
be
you.
like that, right? It
I
really.
mean, it's cutthroat.
Because, and that's the thing. I was just talking to my friend about it. I was
I
talking
walked
to
into
my...
audition like too short.
Yeah.
No, don't even try. Yeah. No.
It's
Really?
Hell yeah.
it's
Like you don't even read the
brutal.
thing. It's like, no.
You're a really great actor, but
So for me as a Latina, what I realized when I had the show was that I got the show, and let me tell you, in the contract, when I had the pilot, there was a clause that said that they could fire me or cast somebody else to play me if they found a better actor to play me.
Damn.
So in a
But
show
did you
based
still
on my
get
life.
paid? Would you still get paid?
As an executive producer, yes.
Okay.
But I wouldn't get the acting money.
As long as you still getting paid.
But the thing, what happened though is that I always had the personality. I was never the hot chick. I was never the girl that like guys wanted to like go out with. I was always like the funny friend, right? And then what happened is that in a weird way, my personality got me the show. And then I realized that when they were promoting the show, they wanted me to do everything in Spanish. It was a show in English on ABC. And they were like, but you speak Spanish. And it's like, oh yeah, but the show's in English, right? When the show gets canceled, I realized that there's no characters for me to play. Because I was in the auditions, in every audition for my show. And I read every resume that every actor came in with. And all the Latino actors had, they were cops, they were defendants, they were like, it's all very judicial legal drama, right? And all the women were hot. The sex pot, everything. So for me, when I get auditions, I'm always, well, we're gonna look in another direction. I get a lot of auditions for Black female characters as the other option. And when you go in that, you already know that chances are you gotta be really, really fucking great. You know what I mean? Because you're already coming in as another option. So for me, the show got canceled in 2015. I shot my first special in 2016 in August. And then the election happened. And as businesses do, they wanted to try to get that demo and have programming for that demo. And immediately I was like, I don't want to play this game right now. I'm gonna let the dust settle. I'm gonna do something else. But what I've realized in my career is that nobody's gonna write for me. So I gotta write my own thing. And that's the thing, is that it's exhausting. Because a lot of actors don't have to do that. A lot of actors show up for roles that, and for me, it's like, if I want another show, I gotta write the show. And now I gotta deal, a lot of times if you're talking with people that don't get your culture, you gotta explain your culture and then pitch it. And if they don't get what you're explaining at that moment, you're screwed. And it's like that thing, because now you're fighting against their perception of your community.
Let me ask, do you feel, this is for the room, do you feel a sense of responsibility to, you are, regardless of whether you do or you're not, you are Latino. Do you feel a sense of responsibility to represent that in everything you do? Like, is it important? Like, because the reason why I'm asking that is I thought about what you just said of like, you'd never seen anyone, you'd never seen that role. So that's why I think representation matters so much in what we do.
It does, and it actually matters so much that I will go on record as saying that Latinos, some of the Latinos were the worst critics I had on when I had my show. Wow. Because we want representation so bad that we want it to be perfect. So,
I argue with friends about this because, especially in the industry, there's not enough of us Latinos. There's definitely some now in this day and age. We got plenty out there, but I was always of the mind of like, why do we have to? We keep beating that drum. There's none. Somebody needs to break through. What do we do? Gonna annoy them until they let us in the industry by saying that? Like, let's go out and be great and let's just show them. Let's do it.
Build your audience.
What are we waiting for? Let's stop talking about it. We're aware of the scenario. We don't like that we're not a big part of the ratio. Let's go do it. Let's make ourselves it.
But that's why the work that I can't stress this enough. The work that you guys are doing matters beyond the actual work that you're doing, right? It's like you have your own skate brand, right? And it's like you now are in a position where if you see other dope, young potential people, you can give those opportunities, right? Sure. You now can write in roles. You now are making music, right? And can have a mariachi brand and do those things.
Like, I'm not a skater, but I have a primitive shirt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I read that, I'm like, oh, I got this in the closet. You know what I mean? But sometimes you're rocking stuff and you don't know where it's coming from. Like, I had a Metallica shirt for a minute, never really listened to the music, but you know what I mean?
But that's a good point. Like, if you make whatever your field is or your lane is, if you do dope, you're gonna stand out. So like, growing up, I didn't ever think of it personally like, okay, I'm Latino, I gotta stand out for my people. Like, of course, I've always been proud. Of course, I'm grateful of my heritage, of course. But my mindset was like, I was looking at the greats in my field and like, I wanna get up there and be held in that rare air with them.
You nailed it.
You know what I mean?
Not the merit of like,
right. I didn't look at my heritage or my culture as being a thing that would hold me back or propel me or anything. I just looked at it as like, I believe that if I put the effort and focus and dedication to this, I can become that. And I think maybe, a lot of my cousins, even my family and people that I know of, they might not have that mindset. They might already have that thing of like, because we're Latino, we already have it against us, which, sure, there's some truth to that, but I don't see how that does us any favors by having that in our mindset going into something. It's almost like subconsciously programming yourself to already be behind the 8 ball, where if you just put that outside your mind, I'm gonna be great. And
it's a weird thing we do as Latinos, because I can tell you, Tom Brady isn't considered the best white quarterback.
No.
He's the best quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And I think, you're doing yourself a disservice if it's like, P-Rod wants to be the best Latino skater. It's like, no, you're one of the best skaters ever. It so happens you're Latino and you wear the Same with you, right? You don't want to be the greatest or the funniest Latina comic. No, you're a funny, great comic. Same thing with you musically, right? I think that's so important.
Right.
And I think that's how you actually move the thing forward. Because Paul, you just said something that was super interesting. It's like, I know people that'll say, oh, support me because I come from where you come from, or support me because I'm Latino, or support me because I'm black. And it's like, is your product good though? Let's start there.
Right. Which, there's so many gifted and talented Latinos, that's not even a problem. I think like sometimes my problem is with that argument of there's not enough representation is like we're too focused on the fact that somehow our culture or heritage is holding us back. That almost like you've subconsciously convinced yourself that you can't do it, whether you realize it or not. You know, wherever you put that outside your mind, like, no, I don't care who it is, I'm gonna be great.
Yeah.
I
No
think
matter
that
who you put me against.
people want the representation so much that when I had my show, the show is set in Texas because I'm from Texas. It's a Mexican American family, and there were people that were not Mexican American that are like, Latinos don't do that. It's like, well, the show isn't called All Latinos in the World. It's called Cristela, right? And that's the thing is that, you know, you were talking about like Tom Brady, white quarterback, right? It's like, because we don't have all of these opportunities, when they see a show that might be Latino, everybody says, all Latinos are like that. But if you see a show, if I see the Golden Girls, I don't think all white women are like that. Like if I, you know, everybody, and that's my point in saying that is that when we are growing up and we're in our families, we're not Mexican American Cristela. I'm Cristela, right? And we're allowed to have personalities. We're allowed to have identities when we're growing up. To me, I didn't realize I was a Latina comic until I moved to LA. And they told me I was a Latino comic.
You thought you were just a comic.
I was just a comic because I started out in Dallas. I was one of the only women doing stand-up, but like we were all comics. We were all trying to get it and everything like that. And then I moved to LA. I'm trying to get sets at the club. And I remember a booker was like, well, you're a Latino comic. You got to go do the Latino rooms. I'm like, okay, where's that? Restaurants, bars. I wasn't even allowed to be at the clubs. So it's like that thing because it's like, that's where your people go.
And how long ago are we talking? What's?
2005.
It's not that long ago.
So, you know, and I'll go on record as saying that it has always bothered me how your dad never got the recognition that he should have been given in stand-up comedy because he is a pioneer of something that changed. And there were people that tried to imitate him because they thought that that's what it was to be funny. But it wasn't the style, it was him that was funny. And it's like that thing where in that time, like I remember growing up in San Juan, Texas, Mexican, like right by the Mexican border, watching Born in East LA and dying. But it's like that thing where like,
Born in East LA.
And it's that thing where like, to me, it's like, again, it's going back about like really knowing the history of where we come from and what we're doing and being able to celebrate. It's like, it shouldn't be about like Paul being the best Latino skateboarder. It's the fact that other people are saying he's the best Latino skateboarder, but he's a great skateboarder.
Sometimes it be our own people, man.
Yeah, and
our own
It
people.
really is. I think the greatest thing is like that, knowing that we have that pressure, that we actually have an opportunity to take the things that we were kind of, you know, we just had to make the best of it. You writing your own sitcom, you know, making your own way, all of us making our own way in different ways gives us now opportunity to kind of give those outside of the box at this moment kind of a platform. And I think that's the greatest thing is like we, in a weird way, it's probably made us more resilient.
Oh, 100%.
And like even more versed in how to address the room when necessary to protect the ones that actually deserve the kind of opportunities that we didn't really get off rip.
100%. Here's what I would say. They say that you never truly fully grasp your impact till 10, 20 years later, right? And I think it's something you said of like, you didn't see your role or opportunities, so you created them. I have full faith, and this is why the work that you guys are doing is really important, that 20 years from now, the work you guys are doing, that kids are gonna be like, I wanna be the next Miguel, I wanna be the next Cristela, I wanna be the next P-Rod, and that's half the battle, right? So if we do just that, we are doing God's work.
That's right.
It's important what you guys are doing. Let's continue doing it. Let's not be crabs in a barrel. Let's help each other, you know, reach out to each other, do those things, and let's keep moving the culture forward and kicking and taking names as we do it.